What is up, guys? I'm George Mossey. So last night, 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Season 7, Episode 16 has aired, and we checked in Tampa with Andre and Libby and Chuck, and we got some interesting news. So we found out that Chuck has been dating. Now, a lot of people online have some ideas and notions about this situation because the woman that he was dating, Lisa, didn't show up to the date at the hibachi restaurant. So people are saying introducing Chuck into the dating world kind of sounds familiar because this has also happened with Debbie, and Debbie ended up on the single life. So everyone is wondering if this announcement to Chuck being open to finding love and taking the first step means that he's going to be open to doing the next season of the single life. Now, you guys know today the finale of the single life season 3 is airing, and we found out that Jamal and Veronica were an item. So there's a lot going on with the single life. It's a huge opportunity. And do you think Chuck would be willing to put his life out there and do his dating life on the show? So a lot of people feel like that's the main reason why we got that storyline, because Lisa didn't even show up. And a lot of people are also saying it's really interesting that Andrei invited himself on the date with Chuck, because that was something that he should have done on his own. But I do feel this: Andrei has always inserted himself in anyone around or close to Chuck. If you haven't noticed throughout the seasons, Andrei likes to keep Chuck as close as possible. And as you see, Andrei asked Chuck when he arrived at his house, "I haven't heard from you in a couple of days. What is going on with you?" He has to keep Chuck always close to him. And a lot of people feel like that's because that's his income, that's his job, and that's how they source their money for their family. So Libby and Andrei, in true fashion, wanted to accompany Chuck on this date to make sure that she was not a gold digger, because there's only so much money to go around, guys. So if Lisa was taking any of the money that Andre and Libby thought were theirs, there could be a major issue. So we also got to check in with a couple of my favorites from this season who we don't ever get to see. So Charlie and Megan are back, and they are preparing for their family therapy session that everyone is going to do next week on the show. And Megan has constructed a plan where if Andre gets a little handsy like he normally does at these events, she has an idea of waiting for him to strike Charlie so she could call the police and have him hauled off back to Moldova, where she feels where he belongs. Now, that statement triggered some people online to think, that sounds a little interesting, because Andre thinks that maybe someone has already called on him. So making that statement almost makes it seem as though, did they call on him? I honestly don't think Megan and Charlie did make that call, but I do feel like Megan and Charlie are on edge, because the last time that they were in the same place at the same time with Andre, Andre definitely wanted to take things physical, and a lot of people ended up hurt and scratched and almost injured at that point. So a lot of people are worried about the way this family therapy session could go. And are there actual bodyguards at a therapy session? Will there be a crowd control person to make sure that people aren't physically attacking each other? I've never been to a therapy session that has gotten physical, but this is a lot of potential to be a physical situation, because there's so many underlining issues in this family, and there's so many layers to the issues and problems that this family has going on. So whether or not they're going to be able to get to the bottom of any of it, we don't really know. But we do know that Charlie and Megan said that their sisters Jen and Becky have been coming around. They have been building up a relationship with them again, but there's absolutely no contact between Libby, Andre, and Chuck, and that's something that they want to change. So maybe next week during the therapy session, they can get to the bottom of some of these issues and rebuild their relationship and rebuild the strength of their family, and maybe even give us the spinoff, The Family of Libby, that people on Twitter seem to be dreading. But I don't know. I feel like I've grown so fond of the family members in this family. I feel like I would love the dynamic of it, and then they could follow each family member around their own separate lives. I feel like this spinoff might be something that would really surprise everyone and how good it would be. All right, guys, I'm George Mossey. Make sure to follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey and at georgemossey.com for all your 90 Day Fiancé news, interviews, and updates.